So this is a normal brain on the left-hand side and a brain on chronic stress on the right. And I know we're not talking about stress per se, we're talking about trauma, but the two are often, correlated very, very highly. So we know that this absolutely affects us physically, physiologically, neurologically. And for me, it means that when I come to coach someone in a trauma situation, I start with safety. How do I create that initial safety? Because without it, their nervous systems are going to be stuck in these patterns of protection that they've adapted to. So you said, was I going to mention embraining? Absolutely. For me, embraining is the way that I begin to get access to the human body across all of the intelligences, or brains, if you're comfortable calling them brains. For people who don't know about embraining, it's a beautiful modality, and it's an applied neuroscience. And it came out of Australia in 2012, although was trained for the first time in New Zealand, which is quite exciting for me living here. And it uses the knowledge of the adaptive neural networks in each of those three brains to say that if we are only using the head, and if we're only using the head as a client, so we're thinking stories of stress, we're making up meaning, that's going to impact how we can change it, but also as a coach. If we're only coaching to the head brain, only using language, only using story, only using the cognitive knowing, then we are not using all of the wisdom available to that client. So I love this. It's a beautiful mold of ancient wisdom and current neuroscience. So what is it then about the heart that is more than a pump? It is experiencing emotion. And in embraining, we say that it's the seat of our emotions. So whenever we're working with someone about trauma and how does it feel, we kind of need to get them out of the head. And there may be some resistance to that because it might hurt down here. There might be some real pain that they've cut off from. So we use all sorts of breathing techniques to access through the nervous system into the heart in a safe way. The other thing that shows is that relational affect or connection with other people is through the heart. And we can measure that using a magnometer. We can measure the heart effect on emotion about 9 feet away from us at the moment through the heart math work. And our values and what's truly important to us is at heart level. So it's important for us as coaches and therapists to know where we're asking those questions. But if I ask somebody how they feel and they answer, oh, I think I'm okay, that's an indication that they've come from the head. They've not dropped into the heart. They're not actually feeling it. They're processing the feeling and telling you how they think. And if we go down
not too bad.
Or not too bad, yeah, fine, not too bad. They're the typical kind of throwaway answers, aren't they, that we protect ourselves by not having to go there and not having to talk. But if we're serious about healing trauma, we've got to find a way to safely go there and to feel it and to walk through the emotions and the feelings.
I know. And so would you, how would you advise people to still be able to relate to their issue, but not identify with the story, with the whatever has happened to them?
To separate behavior from identity. So, and we'll go through that. The little exercise I've got everybody to do is largely going to look at that, because actually when we start to get truthful about this, we do have lots of different identities. We've already mentioned a few: wife, mother, coach, coachee. So beginning to be realistic about that there are different versions of us. The trauma, the person who experienced the trauma is only one of those. It's not the whole of us. And the person that experienced the trauma was not the trauma. The trauma was something that happened to them. So yeah, we'll look at that, because I think it's one of the places where we can get stuck. If people are holding that and we don't allow them to untangle it, they can get stuck in that loop, because whatever change work you do, they fall back to that belief, but I'm a survivor. So yeah, great question. And clearly I could talk on this for a week, right? And we haven't got time to go into it. But I do love embraining, and I think it is a really useful tool within the whole trauma